Hello everyone, this is your BUS 101 Introduction to Businesses course teacher Arzu Ismail. I'm welcoming all of you to the very first video of this course in spring 2015. The purpose of this video is to give you a quick recap on chapter 1, which is Foundations of Business and Economics. And by now you all know that we are following Business for the 21st Century, so Skinner's book, 10th edition, copies are available in ULab's library. We started discussing this chapter by defining economics, and I told you in the class that there is no single definition of economics that satisfies everyone, but there is this concise one, and we are considering this. Economics is the study of how a society chooses to use scarce resources to produce goods and services and to distribute them for consumption. There are some important terms, as I told you in the class, and you need to understand them very clearly. So scarce resources, when we talk about resources in economics, we mean capital resources, labor resources, natural resources. Natural resources are, for example, water, timber, natural gas, crude oil, etc. Labor resources are human resources, of course, the skills, the talents, the experience they bring in, the effort they exert, etc. When we talk about capital resources, we mean there are some resources, which are considered as the current assets, for example, computer. There are other capital resources which we consider as the fixed assets, for example, factory building, lands, etc. Now, why are we saying that these are scarce resources? We are saying that these are scarce resources because they are limited, or they are finite in nature. And why is it so important to understand that they are finite in nature? It is important because then only you can value them better. You can, for example, produce them effectively, you can distribute them efficiently, so that everybody in the society can consume their required goods and services. So this is pretty much how we define economics and discuss the important terms in it. After this, we distinguished between two terms, namely wants and needs. And I'm pretty sure you still remember that in the class we came up with two different lists, and one list contained items which we later figured are some items that we must have in order simply to exist, simply to live, namely food, shelter, clothes, etc. The other list, on the other hand, contained items that we figured are good to have, nice to have, but we will not die if we don't have them. For example, an helicopter, or a very luxury car, or a very luxury dress. So to understand the difference between need and want is a very important concept in economics and also in business, and we will elaborate the importance of understanding such differences when we talk about marketing under chapter 13 later on. After this, we discussed about the different economic systems, and I told you that many years back there were these capitalists who were exploiting the labor class. For example, they were paid at the very minimum, and the entire environment was very hostile for this labor class. Then Karl Marx, a German philosopher, very renowned journalist, he came up with a book. He published his book Das Kapital in the year of 1867, and there he wrote down about this hostile environment that the capitalists had created, and he also shared his idea of socialism so that the society gets better. The very idea of socialism is the basis for what we call today a planned economy. Under a planned economy, the government decides everything. The government owns everything. All the institutions of the society are owned by government, and North Korea is an example of planned economy. The other kind of economic system which we discussed is capitalism. This is just the opposite of planned economy. Here, Private people owns everything, they produce everything, they decide on everything. As the last system of economy, we discussed mixed economy. As the name suggests, it's a mixture of planned economy and capitalism, and Bangladesh is a very good example of it. You see, we have BTV, Bangladesh Television. This is a government-owned institution, but we also have many private TV channels. So you see, participation of government and private people are there together in the society, and this is one example of mixed economy. After this, we started discussion on the 4 different phases of business cycle in economics. The first one being prosperity phase. In this phase, everything is very good. The economic activities are progressing. So we have more output, we have more jobs, we have more money to spend, people are consuming more, people are demanding more, and so on. And then comes the turning point in the cycle where these economic activities slow down, and we call this slowing down phase, so to say, as the recession phase. Okay, the curve goes to the downward direction here, but you do not cross the horizontal line, so you're still in the positive quadrant. The moment the graph enters the negative quadrant, we call that phase as the depression phase. Here the economic activities are at its worst, and then you hit the rock bottom, and then you have no way to go down anymore. So the only way out is going upward from there, and we call that particular phase as the recovery phase. Please note that in the recovery phase, you are still belonging, or you're still staying in the negative quadrant, okay, but the direction is upward. That's the difference between the depression phase and the recovery phase. One of the important observations of this discussion is that in the expansionary phases, like the first one, prosperity, and the fourth one, recovery, here you may have inflation because people are demanding more, people can spend more, so prices of everything go higher, and that's a phenomenon which we know as inflation in economics. The other 2 phases, on the other hand, are the contraction phase. Here the economic activities are slowing down, so here we have deflation. That's the opposite of inflation. Here prices of everything come down. So that was pretty much chapter 1. I will soon try to upload a recap or a review on chapter 2. Till then, take care. I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.